Hi, I'm Phil Clendenin with Yamaha, and I'm here at Sam Ash to show you a little bit about the new Reface. This is a reimagination of some classic Yamaha keyboards. And one of the things that we really find compelling is that these can go anywhere. These are mobile mini keyboards. And the only thing mini about them is the size, because the sound is huge. And as we'll see, we have 4 different models. Each one is very in-depth. And we'll take a look at each of these one by one. Now, the Reface CP for combo piano. Now, Yamaha introduced back in 1975 a keyboard called the CP80. You and the rest of the band could load this into a van and take it to the gig. It was what a portable piano was like back in those days. It weighed almost 200 pounds. But it is what you did when you had to do that. All right, so Yamaha, again, this is a reimagination of some classic keyboards. So here you have 6 different classic, what we call a van full of 1970s classic pianos. Now back then you had something called a time piano, better known as the Rhodes. Now Rhodes came out maybe in the late 60s, but it really dominated the 70s because it was under 150 pounds and you could take it to the gig, and it had a unique tone. So there were several different versions of this time piano. Here you have 2 different physical models. Now the CP is based on a technology called Spectral component modeling. Now what that's a fancy word for is basically it's an analysis of what happens in these vintage pianos. And back in the day when you bought a Rhodes, you know, it made one sound. It made that Fender Rhodes sound. If you wanted a different sound, well, you went and bought an effect processor. You ran down to Sam Ash and maybe you got an MXR chorus or a phase shifter or something like that. Well, those are modeled, physically modeled, and in your CP. So when you have a Rhodes, you could put a wah-wah on it. Or you could have tremolo, where it now moves back and forth between the speakers. You want to add a chorus. Or a phase shifter. These were what you did in order to get additional sounds out of your Fender Rhodes piano. All right? You might also have purchased a tape delay. Back in the day, we had something called an Echoplex. There was a Space Echo. Basically, it was tape with a movable playback head. And what you can do with this now is all kinds of multiple repeats. And since these are authentic physical models of what went on with an analog delay, you could increase the depth and take this into outer space. It's fun. You can have all kinds of sounds going on. Of course, back then you didn't have a reverb. Reverbs came way later that were affordable. Back then a reverb chamber cost you a large size room. But this is a digital product. You can add reverb. You have overdrive. Now, there was the Rhodes, the mighty Rhodes. But even before the Rhodes came out, there was something called a Wurlitzer. And of course, you have a physical model of that. With its signature tremolo. All right? And of course, you can add your effects to it as you go. Now there's a clavinet. It can't be complete without it. And all of these, of course, are transposable over the full 10.5 octave range of MIDI. And so forth. All right? So there's a toy piano. And the mighty CP that we mentioned. Now the CP is heard on everything from Journey. I mean, everybody had a CP back in the day if you could afford it, and of course if you had a van or a truck. But now you get a van full of 1970s classic vintage pianos in the CP, the Reface CP. Get one at Sam Ash.